I've managed to churn out. I've had a bit of a dry spell, and then managed to churn out three in about a day, which was quite lucky. Just before, just this week actually. So and on that note, I was thinking about the difficulties of writing, and I'm sure anyone who writes, even if you don't believe in writer's block, or if you do believe in writer's block, knows that writing can be difficult sometimes. So I also combine that with the fact that anyone who's seen me smile knows that I don't like going to the dentist. So this is a poem about combining those two ideas, and this is Poems as Dentistry. Sometimes I cannot write. It is like pulling out teeth. Slow, excruciating, a violation of undisturbed nature by a forceful hand. Tiny little amputations. So I sit in fear, avoid the act, so that I so often yearn to perform. Leave the words unwritten, unspoken, and ephemeral in their transient perfection, unmarred by the flaws of the corporeal. But this is something I must do. The coil of my soul tightens after a time without casting out the thoughts. And so I rise from the malaise, shake off the inertia of inaction, and rip the words from the jaws of my spirit so that my demons and my darkest thoughts are all left toothless. Thank you. Uh, this is another one about dreams. Basically, it was just I had a phrase which, as with a lot of my poems, they come from a certain small snippet and then it just sort of expands from that. And this is about the idea of holding the crumbs of a dream in your hand as they sort of dissipate in the waking world. And so this is Fragments. I watch as the shards of dreams collect in my palm, glistening in the night, only to dissipate with the waking of the world. My mother's lichen-speckled epitaph, the pale ghosts of unborn siblings, the fears of a life left unfinished. They all gather between my fingers, gossamer, ethereal, and yet, in those fleeting moments of night, so very, very real. And now, this one I'm kind of dreading reading because it's a very personal piece, but I wrote it last night, in fact, because I've been thinking a lot about my mother, who tragically died nearly 20 years ago now when I was still a child. And I've been thinking a lot about the effects of that and how that has shaped my life in the course of things. And so I wrote this as a sort of comparison of based around the idea of the saying, if mother is the god in the eyes of a child. I took that phrase and I created this from it. If mother is God in the eyes of a child, imagine seeing your God stripped down and destroyed before your very eyes. No closure, no resurrection, just a cold body and misunderstood grief. Two paths stretch out before me, an eternal choice, a great temptation. Walk the dark path, blame my hardships on the happiness of others who could never understand, inflict the pain I felt on those around me as some ephemeral retribution on a cruel, uncaring world. Or remember the things that I clung to in my belief, the gospels of my mother, kindness, compassion, patience and temperance. I will not lie. There have been times, cold, seething moments where I have yearned to walk that darker path. But hatred begets hatred, and I haven't the heart for grudges or resentment. So, in these most disillusioned times, I say unto you who have lost, who have suffered, who have grieved, keep the faith and be kind.
Oh, thank you very much, Mikey. I always like the way that sort of it seems so difficult for the poems to get out, and when they're out there, they're just so honest and affecting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.